You see that brown envelope on the doormat. Your heart does that little jump, right? It's from HMRC. We've all been there. But what if I told you that turning that moment of panic into a feeling of control is actually way easier than you think? Well, welcome. The experts from My Tax Accountant are here to break down exactly why you might get a letter, what it really means, and most importantly, give you a clear plan to handle it. Let's do this.
Wow, this quote really hits home, doesn't it? It's from a real UK taxpayer, and it just perfectly captures that raw feeling of shock and confusion we want to tackle today. It is a stressful moment for sure, but remember, you are not alone in this, and there's always a clear path forward.
So how are we going to get you from confusion to clarity? Here's our little roadmap for today. We'll start by tackling that dreaded envelope feeling head-on. Then, believe it or not, we'll look at the good news. After that, we'll cover routine checks, what happens when things get a bit more serious, and then we'll get to the most important bit, your practical 5-step action plan. By the end, you'll feel ready for anything. All right, let's dive right in. Section 1, the dreaded brown envelope. We're going to start right where that anxiety begins and turn that feeling into some real, practical understanding.
Ah, that moment. It's a feeling every single taxpayer in the UK knows. But here's the most important thing I want you to remember today. Not all letters are bad news. Honestly, many are just routine, and some, as we're about to see, are actually very good news. So the first step is always the same. Just take a breath, open it, and let's figure out what it's really about.
Okay, let's completely flip the script. In Section 2, we're talking about good news and simple updates. Because yes, sometimes that brown envelope has a very, very welcome surprise inside.
This is the one you really want to see, a P800 tax calculation. Now, this is a super common letter, and often it's fantastic news. It basically means HMRC has crunched the numbers and found that you've actually overpaid tax, so you're due a refund. You know a classic example? Maybe you started a new job, they put you on an emergency tax code, and you paid way too much for a couple of months. The P800 is just HMRC making it right.
And claiming that refund? It could not be simpler. Here's a little pro tip for you. As soon as you get that P800, you can hop online to the gov.uk website and claim it directly. The money is usually in your account in about 5 working days. But here's the best part. If you do absolutely nothing, they'll just automatically post you a check. It's that easy.
Okay, so that's the good news. Now for probably the most common type of letter you might get, let's look at Section 3, routine checks and nudge letters. This is all about HMRC just keeping your tax affairs on track.
You know, it's easy to see the HMRC logo and feel a bit of dread, but it's worth remembering their actual goal. Their job isn't to try and catch you out, it's just to make sure everyone pays the right amount of tax at the right time. These routine letters are simply a tool they use to keep the system fair for all of us.
So, what on earth is a nudge letter? Well, first off, it is not a formal tax investigation. It's more of a prompt from HMRC. They have some pretty clever data systems, and if something flags up, they might just nudge you to double-check a part of your tax return. Say, for example, you're a freelancer in London. They might have data that suggests your home office expense claim looks a bit high, or maybe they have a record of overseas income you forgot to declare. It's basically an invitation to take a look and fix it if needed.
Another really common one is for a simple assessment. This is just an automatic tax bill HMRC sends out if you owe tax that they couldn't collect through your wages, through PAYE. This often applies to people receiving the state pension, since tax isn't taken off that at the source, and also to people whose income tips over £100,000, which starts to affect their personal allowance.
And this is the crucial number behind that. For the 2025 to 26 tax year, the standard tax-free personal allowance is £12,570. But here's the detail that catches so many people out. For every £2 you earn over 100 grand, your personal allowance goes down by £1. So by the time you're earning £125,140, your entire tax-free allowance is just gone. If your tax code doesn't reflect that, you end up underpaying tax, and that's when you get a simple assessment. It's a really common trap.
Okay, now we do need to talk about Section 4, when things get serious. This is where we'll cover formal checks and penalties. It might sound a bit intimidating, I know, but remember, understanding the process is the absolute key to staying in control. But first, a really, really important safety check. Scammers are everywhere, unfortunately. So how can you tell if a letter is genuine? Well, a real letter from HMRC will always have your specific tax reference number on it, like your UTR. It will give you a reasonable amount of time to respond, and it will always send you to the official gov.uk website.
A scam, on the other hand, will try to rush you, it'll ask for bank details over email or text, which HMRC will never do, and it'll often give you a dodgy-looking phone number. If you're in any doubt, just find the official number on the gov.uk site yourself and give them a call.
Stay with me here. This next part is really important because ignoring these more serious letters, well, it can get very expensive, very, very quickly. Let's take a look at what happens with formal checks and penalties.
Just have a look at this table. It shows just how fast things can escalate. See that first line? If you are even 1 day late with your self-assessment return, it's an immediate £100 penalty. Boom. Then look down. After 3 months, they start adding a £10 times daily penalty. And at 6 and 12 months, they get even steeper. The takeaway is crystal clear. The cost of delaying adds up incredibly fast.
So what is a compliance check? Think of this as the next level up from a nudge letter. It's a more formal review. HMRC will write to you, say they're opening a check, and they might ask for specific documents to prove your figures. Now, the most important thing to know here is that your cooperation is absolutely key. The more you help them, the quicker it gets sorted. And what they call the quality of your disclosure can also massively reduce any potential penalties if they do find a mistake.
So, we've covered the why. Now it's time for the what. Section 5, your 5-step action plan. This is your practical, go-to guide for the moment any letter from HMRC arrives through your letterbox.
Okay, this is it, your crucial action plan. If you only remember one thing, remember these 5 steps. Step 1, don't panic. Seriously, take a breath and check the letter is even genuine. Step 2, understand it. Read it properly. What exactly are they asking for? Step 3, gather your stuff. Get all the relevant documents together. Step 4, respond. Never ever ignore a letter. And finally, the most important step of all, Step 5, get help. If you have any doubt at all, contact a professional. Don't try to go it alone.
Which brings us perfectly to our final section, doesn't it? Section 6, getting professional help. Because the key message here is simple. You do not have to face HMRC alone.
So, let me end with this question. After everything we've talked about, just take a moment and ask yourself, are you honestly confident you're managing your tax correctly and paying exactly the right amount? For a lot of people, especially if you're a freelancer, a small business owner, or have a few different income streams, the answer isn't a simple yes. And you know what? That's completely okay.
And that's exactly where professional help makes all the difference. For that true peace of mind, knowing your tax affairs are handled properly, the best thing you can do is talk to the team at My Tax Accountant. They can deal with HMRC for you, taking all that stress completely off your shoulders. All their details are on the screen now. You can call them on 0208 570 8531 or just drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk.
And hey, if you want to dive a bit deeper into any of this, the team has a brilliant blog post with all the details, which you can find at the address on your screen now. And of course, for more helpful guides just like this one, make sure you hit subscribe on the channel.
And just before we finish, a quick but very important note. The information in this guide is for general guidance only. It shouldn't be relied on to make financial decisions because, let's face it, tax is complex and it's very specific to your situation. So, before you make any decisions, you really must consult a qualified expert like the fantastic team at My Tax Accountant. Thanks so much for watching.